Hey guys, welcome to Japanese Wife Life Show. It's been a while I filmed this kind of footage because we moved from Okinawa to the United States, I think 6 years ago, summer in 2017. Therefore, we've been super busy to establish ourselves in the States. Every now and then, I miss making video on Word Eye, but now Word Eye is not necessarily suitable or accurate. Therefore, we changed the name from World Eye to Japanese Wife Life. Alright, so let's start the topic. 5 things I like about the United States and 5 things I'm not necessarily a big fan of about the United States. Number 1, I do love United States have great appliances. For example, my top 2 favorite machines are dishwasher and dryer, laundry dryer. We used to hang our clothing balcony in Okinawa, Japan. It took for a while to do the chore. Not only that, but also Okinawa sometimes has a squall, sudden raining because it's a tropical climate. Therefore, even if you hang the clean laundry outside, try to dry them, but at the same time, you are kind of constantly a little worried about when the rain is coming and ruin the clean laundry, and you have to do from the scratch again. Dishwasher, this is a big one. It changed my life. Now, I can't live without dishwasher. Who likes to touch dirty food residue? I don't. You do? Therefore, I love dishwasher. Not only it washes all the dishes at once, but at the same time, your skin doesn't get damaged. Therefore, I like the dishwasher. Of course, there are other things, but I will only talk about 2 appliances today. Now I talk about something I'm not fond of about America. Crime. It is extremely dangerous living in America compared to Japan. Of course, Japan is one of the safest countries in the world. The comparison about the crime and safety stands out even more from my perspective. For example, when I was working at a certain job, there are thieves, and not only one thief coming, but also there are a group of thieves, such as like teenagers tend to steal a lot, and also, also talking about teenagers, I heard a lot of horror story about drugs in the schools, which is very unbelievable. School is for studying, not for doing drugs. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I don't want to talk too much, so I will cut this story short. Okay, that's the crime. 2 things I like about America. Diversity. I love diversity in the States. Japan is consists of mostly Japanese ethnicity. We tend to have so many unwritten rules, social pressures, but in the States, because it consists of so many ethnicities, here I feel like we respect individual culture more instead of pushing your own value and expectations, which is very soothing for me, because sometimes I had a hard time to voice my opinions, I think, differently. If you are a little different, for example, if you go to school, your hair is a little brownish because of your gene, schools ask you to dye your hair to black. Or I've also heard there are curly hair people in Japan, but at the same time, they have to do straight perm at the salon, hair salon, to make like a normal Japanese straight hair. Personally, I thought it's weird because it's not their intention to be different. They are born to be different. It's not their fault. It's not them to make a decision to have a brownish, brighter hair color or curly hair, but they try to make it very one way. Therefore, it's kind of hard for these kids to go to school at the same time, because education that way, since you children grew expectation to others to be the same. This is the situation when you're grown up. Also, you tend to expect other people to be the same. There is underlying expectation to each other instead of, oh, you have a different culture, so let's communicate. Therefore, number 2, I love the United States about diversity. Number 2, for things I'm not a big fan about the United States. Sushi is expensive, but it doesn't taste nearly as good as Japan. Yes, of course, Japan has more choices, there is better sushi, but at the same time, I feel like United States is extremely overpriced. For example, if I want to have a sushi, decent one in San Francisco, I have to pay around $300, which is ridiculous. I feel like I can get those kind of quality of sushi in Japan, maybe $100, at least those ballpark. So it's extremely expensive here to access something healthy or something very, very Japanese. Number 3, the things I like about America. United States has a lot of fun sports event. I'm originally not a big fan of sports. Football, I didn't know that. I grew up with baseball. Therefore, I like baseball, but not to the point that I watch it weekend or games and recorded a game or anything. But one time I went to ice hockey game with my husband. My first American professional game. Hockey game.
For premium seating section. Just going to our suite now. Used the premium toilets.
It was extremely fun, even if I'm not a sports fan whatsoever. Yeah. It's so nice to feel the energy in the stadium. Great food, also great ambience. People are happy, cheering, hootering. That was very fun experience that I never had in Japan. Number 3, not my cup of tea about America. Medicine is expensive here. In Japan, medicine is super accessible. It's ridiculously pricey compared to Japan. If something happens, this country is not necessarily friendly for everybody. You want to have a good insurance. My aunt-in-law, for example, broke her knee and she needed to do knee replacement. She had great insurance, so she could do it within 2 weeks. But her father, he had to do the same surgery. It was a kind of same period with what it happened, and he had to replace his knees as well. But he used veteran insurance, I believe, VA hospital, and he had to wait like 3 months. She had to replace her knee replacement. After his diagnosis, she could cure her problem way faster than his father's. So I thought it was crazy, and there is definitely financial difference matters to medical support. Number 4, things I like about America. Overtime is paid. In Japan, there is a social pressure that even if your work is finished at 5, your boss is still in the office or your coworker is in the office, you have to stay and stick around and work with them. But those hours are not paid. Basically, you are working for free. You can go home as a rule, but it would make your position in the workspace extremely difficult to be comfortable. The other coworkers might talk behind you, oh, we are working so hard, but why that person go home earlier? This is one of those unwritten rules. Overtime is not paid. Therefore, working environment in Japan is tough. On the contrary, in the United States, people tend to go home when the hour is up. When I was in the neighbor hospital before, 1 hour before, people start to prepare to go home. They clean the desks, they pack their belongings. I thought it's incredible They cherish family time over work. In Japan, it's not necessarily the case. American people has to stay and keep working. They're gonna be paid most of the time, right? As far as I know, that's the case, and with my experience, when you are working over hour, you're gonna be paid. Number 4, things I'm not big fan about America. Health problem, obesity in particular. There are so many bad food choices with high calorie in the States. It's easy to put on weight. As a result, especially when I went to Texas or countryside somewhere with driving is the main transportation, they tend to put on weight. Yeah, some are genetics and it's okay. If they're being very careful, that's okay. But sometimes I see people, they have a hard time even walking because they are too heavy, and yet they keep eating. I feel like almost they're addicted to food, therefore they can't stop it. Makes sense because what they're intaking is basically toxins. They're not eating clean food, they're eating very addictive and dangerous food. As a result, they become obese. Number 5, things I like about America. Returning items is very easy and convenient. For example, the other day I bought a hat on Amazon, but the color didn't go with my skin tone. Therefore, I returned it on the same day in Whole Foods. Super easy. Nobody gives you a guilty feeling. On the other hand, Japan, you feel so bad when you return items, and they do a lot of investigation about you. Therefore, it's crazy how different it is. Saks Fifth, Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, or Walmart, anywhere you go, America is extremely friendly with returning items. We don't have that infrastructure in Japan. Number 5, things I don't like about America. There is a huge gap between the rich and the poor, the non-educated, the educated, all kinds of gaps. The top part is great. Everybody is wealthy, comfortable. For example, we have Tenderloin in San Francisco. There are so many homeless people and drug addicts. Not only Tenderloin, I've been to Miami or New York or Boston, Los Angeles, so many places in the States, big cities of course. I'm talking right now, but Dallas didn't have a homeless a lot. Maybe because it's too hot to live outside. Homeless can't survive there, I believe. They do have more homeless than Tokyo though, at the first glance at least. My point is, there is a huge gap. One time someone asked me, where is the rich area in Okinawa? And I was, what? Rich area? I don't understand. But now I understand why this individual asking me the question. In the States, rich people live in a rich area. The poor people live in the poor area. It's clearly separated and it's not mishmash. In Japan, it's not the case. For example, there's a fancy schmancy building, condo exists, and right next to it, there might be a humble apartment. Even if it's the same exact area, it's just different buildings, a facility. It boils down to those nitty-gritty stuff, but not this rich area versus poor area. In the States that exist, even if, there are rich area has the same price of the housing, not the case, I'm not saying that, but definitely there is area wealthy people live and the middle class live and the poor people live. Therefore, I feel like there is a huge gap between the rich and the poor. The education has a huge gap as well. Well-educated people go to good school, but to go to good school, you have to live in a nice area. So originally, you have to have a good financial comfortability. Poor people go to these sketchy food school, and their teachers are not necessarily motivated. They can't necessarily teach kids very well. Also, I heard teachers are paid very badly in the States. Therefore, not many people want to become teachers. That's kind of sad. I'm just talking about maybe financial aspects and education aspects right now, and of course homeless problem. But coming to United States was eye-opener how capitalism creates a huge gap between the top to the bottom. Sometimes it's hard to see who are struggling. I can't say if this is right or wrong, to be honest though, because maybe that's why people have a drive to be successful. That make America so innovative and they lead next generation or technology. So I can't say this is good or bad, but definitely seeing the poor people struggling is tough. Okay, so today I talked about 5 things I like about America, 5 things I do not like about America. Do you disagree or agree? If you have any insight, make sure you leave comments, and if you think it's interesting even a little bit, make sure you give a thumb up. If you could subscribe, that makes me very happy. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you next time. Bye.